the point in time that I'm reverting 2 years ago, I'm very active in an evangelical church, and I ended up in this particular church through just different points in my life, different challenges, different things um, that came up. And the people in the church are great. I had great relationships, but I'm at this point in my life where this is following a divorce. The reason why I began to look back and kind of reflect on me growing up as a Catholic and what did that mean, and looking at the church again. I was dating somebody who was Catholic, and we had some conversation, and she was a cradle Catholic, and I said, well, I grew up Catholic, not really understanding that I'm still Catholic. I mean, that never changed. So I'm learning about this, and we're asking each other questions, and I begin reading books. I begin reading to understand, what does it mean to be Catholic? But I'm completely immersed as a evangelical. I'm immersed in the church that I'm going to so deep that I'm borderline trying to discern whether I should be a pastor. I mean, which is wild to me, but I'm volunteering, and I'm helping out with an online church, and I'm participating in their, every Sunday I'm participating in basically their tithing and their giving, where I'm up on stage and I'm speaking as a leader to a congregation, to a bunch of people, and I'm giving testimony, and I'm talking about what it means to tithe, and I'm talking about what it means to go to church, and I'm telling my testimony, and then I'm leading an online service. All the while I'm now reflecting on what exactly is Catholicism. Where did all this come from? And there are things that led up to this too, where, I have spiritual leaders and pastors from churches that I've been involved with. And I always had these questions in the back of my head that didn't come forward until I finally started to read about the Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. But then it helped me identify the questions of which were rooted in authority. The thing I podcast about the most, and still to this day, the thing I love to talk about the most, part of my testimony that I love to debate or just have dialogue with anyone, more Protestants especially, is rooted in authority. One of the things I just didn't understand and didn't know how to put words to, as I'm leading, or I'm being seen as a leader in this Protestant church, is everyone had a slightly different variation of things that were important, that were related to authority, or things that were tied to salvation. And I didn't understand that. I felt like I was in a good place. I felt like people were speaking truth, but it wasn't all of the truth. There were things missing, and I didn't know how to explain that. And so when I started to read, I would ask questions back to my spiritual mentors and people, other leadership of the church, and I couldn't get answers. No one could give me answers. And in fact, the answers that I got were kind of those like, well, this is just how it is. The answers were almost, the answers pointed to traditions within Protestant churches, but verbally, the words I would get back were, that we were sola scriptura, it's Bible alone. But yet the interpretations that were being used for sola scriptura were based on traditions within a particular church. And so because, one of the things I ran into that popped up for me, a scenario that happened, was somebody in a leadership position in this church that I'm in, that's in front of people, as being seen as a leader, is participating in kind of a worship experience, was living with someone else. They're not married. They're in a relationship, and they're cohabitating together. Mm-hmm. And so the leader of the church, then it kind of knows about this and examines it and speaks from a business standpoint, and basically says, well, you have to lay down some ground rules. And basically, as a leader of this church, because you're being seen, you're in the public eye, we're trying to mirror what we would model good behavior, or what we would want to be seen from our church. We're not okay with you being in front and center on a stage and being in a relationship, so people would know this. Well, this person became upset and left and went to a different church, and another church, or independent evangelical church, received her and allowed her to be in worship there. And so, without getting into all the detail of right or wrong, outside of being a Catholic, I'm not Catholic yet. I'm looking at this scenario going, well, wait a minute. there's got to be truth in here somewhere. There's someone's not right, or something's right about this. And what is it? And nobody could explain other than this is what we feel because we've read scripture. That's what, that's why we believe this is wrong. So we're going to stand on that, and we're going to say, this is what we believe. We don't believe this is correct. But this person, because there was no authority in that, this person left and went someplace else where authority then said, oh, we're okay with this. We're okay with this thing that this other church. But I was like, wait a minute, we're all Christians. Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense.